What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to be working on the fish room. A little upgrade today. Not a huge upgrade, but it's going to be an upgrade that will make water changes a lot more fun and a lot easier for me. Right now, doing water changes is pretty simple. I've got the whole setup going on with this thing right here. The whole hose system, that's kind of messy right now. And yeah, I've just got it all set up, but it's not exactly to how I'd like to have it going. So the main issue is that it's not pressure resistant. So if I decided to turn this tap on, have the water flowing, and I decided to turn this off, if I can do this with one hand, it's quite tight, this thing. Alright, so if I have it off and say I want to switch to another tank, I want to move it over, it's not going to work. That's not going to work because first of all, this hose right here is not pressure resistant, so it's going to spring a leak somewhere. It's gonna pop or burst or explode somewhere. It's not made to hold pressure, so I have to have this thing opened up at all times. And the next thing is, I'm not so sure how well this PVC pipe is, like how durable it is, if this thing is even pressure resistant itself, because if I close this up, once again, it's going to be quite tough. This thing, is it just the quality that's bad or what? Man, this is why I want to upgrade this thing too. So if I decide to close this and I have the whole tap running so there's water flowing through the system, I'm also not sure if this thing is a strong seal right here. I don't know if they've glued the PVC so that it's pressure resistant, because there was one time where this thing actually fell off. The PVC came off from the ball valve, so yeah, it's supposed to be glued together, but either the glue was bad or something. The whole thing like slipped apart, so I was having a little bit of a leak somewhere. Luckily I noticed it in time and it's just a small leak. Yeah, so I can't really trust this thing anymore. I did glue it back together, but I'm still having trust issues with this. So today we're going to be making something better. You can see I've got a good ball valve right here. This thing is super easy. I can do this thing with one hand. Like, well, maybe I can't, but if it's fixed somewhere, like here, this thing is like super smooth. Okay. Alright, maybe it doesn't look that smooth right now. That's an epic fail. But yeah, I guarantee you, once we get this thing on a PVC pipe, it's going to be so easy to do this with one hand. Alright, so up to this point, I know I haven't given the best explanation, and I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. I'll try to give you a better look at the whole system right here. So we've got the water heater. I'll show you the full setup. So this is the water heater. During the winter, I use this thing to heat the water because I don't want to be filling in cold water into tanks that require warm water, like say for the angelfish, because they prefer warm water. So we've got the water heater going on. I don't use this but during the summer, but it's still connected. So this is the tap I open when I want to get water going into the tank. So I open this up and water flows into this green hose. This green hose is pressure resistant, by the way, so we can have as much pressure going in to this as we want. And it goes in to this thing called the NA water. This is a water filter that takes out chlorines and chloramines. It's got this, I'm not sure what this is, like a cotton or sediment filter, I'm not too sure what it's called, and then we've got the carbon filter. So this thing just takes out chlorines and chloramines, so I don't have to keep putting dechlorinator into the tanks. And then we go to this hose, which we'll be changing today. This is the non-pressure resistant hose. It's super soft and flexible. It'll be really good to use this hose for siphoning water out of the tanks, but not really for putting water into the tanks because it's not pressure resistant. So we come back all the way to this thing, and this thing I bought actually in Singapore. They actually sell these at fish stores. You can find them at fish stores in Singapore. They're good for very simple use. If you're not running pressure through your system, then you can use them, keep it open all the time, and yeah, you can use it just as it is. But I want to run pressure through my system so that I can have the tap running the entire time and just move from tank to tank. So I'd have to turn this thing off and it's gonna be super hard to do it once again. But yeah, so I have to turn this thing off in order to move on to the next tank. This is the green water tank, but yeah, and then I can turn it back on again. So if I keep doing this motion, eventually this hose is going to break. It's going to spring a leak somewhere, so I'm going to be changing this whole thing today. So let's begin. Alright, so the items you'll need for this little project is very minimal. You don't need a lot of things. First of all, you'll need your PVC pipe. This, I think, is 13 mil PVC pipe. It's the smallest, the thinnest pipe there is at my home center, so that's the one I got. And then you'll need PVC glue right here. This one is pressure resistant PVC glue. Then you'll need the ball valve, and the ball valve, you don't want to cheap out on this. I spent quite a bit getting this thing. It was really more expensive than I thought. This thing was close to $20, so for this little thing, $20, that's quite expensive. And here's another type that I've got. This one right here is about $5, and the difference, and it's not that much, it's not that big of a difference, but you can see right there. The more expensive one is smaller, but it also moves better. This ball valve is super smooth and it's super easy to move around, so I think it's a better quality. For the price, it's got to be better quality. It's also much thicker, so I think that's better for being pressure resistant. This one, on the other hand, I'm not sure if this is pressure resistant or not, but yeah, I've never tried it out with pressure, so I'm not so sure. Maybe some of you guys can let me know in the comments down below, but yeah, just don't cheap out on this thing because you want to make sure it's pressure resistant. So we've got this, then we've got the PVC cutter. You don't need to have PVC cutters. I have this because I was working on a lot of PVC piping around the fish room, especially for the air system and for the drainage system that you can't really see right now. But having one of these for the fish room is a really great tool, a really good investment to make. But if you don't have this, you can just use a saw that cuts plastic. And then finally, you'll need one of this. This thing, I have no idea what it's called, but it's kind of like a hose connector. So you can see right here, I've got it right here, connecting the hose to the tap. So yeah, you can find this at your home center. If you can't find this, then not to worry, you can use one of these things. I'm sure many of you know what this thing is. Worm clamp? Is it called a worm clamp or something? I'm not sure, but yeah, this is the screw-on type, so you screw it to tighten it, and I think this will work perfectly fine, but yeah, I prefer one of these things. So let's go and put this thing together. Alright, so let's begin. We've got the PVC pipe right here. Let's cut it. The length you want to cut it really depends on you. I'm going to base mine off of Aqua Reviews. I got this idea from Aqua Review actually, and you can see there's right there in the image. Maybe I'll put a better image up on the screen, but yeah, so that's basically what we're going to be making today, and I'm going to try to estimate his pipe's length. Yeah, we'll try to create something similar to that. About 22, right? Oh, I forgot a part. You're going to need elbows for this. I completely forgot about the elbows. Let me see if I've got some. So luckily, I found some elbows. You'll probably need about 2 or 3. So that's a good thing. Apologies. Now we've got this piece that connects in here, and we're going to glue this all at the end. So that there is the basic shape of it. Now if you put this in your tank directly, just like that, you have water splashing down and just disturbing all the substrate, the gravel, the sand, whatever. So you want to put an elbow right here, kind of like this. And now you can point it outwards to wherever direction you want. And you don't want to glue this piece on. So you can do that, or I want to be a little bit more fancy. I'm going to do exactly what the Aqua Review owner did. You can see he's got a little thing right there. So we're going to do that. In Japan, what that thing is actually one of these. And I'm not sure how well you can see that, but that right there is a filter intake pipe. And I'll show you guys in one of my tanks. So if you see right here, I've got it in this tank, the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 tank. It's connected to this filter. So this is an overhead filter. You can see how it works. And that's just, I'm not sure what you call that thing, but it's just there so that plants and stuff don't go through the filter. But yeah, that's basically what this thing right there is. Okay, now for the final part. It's this thing right here. And sometimes things just don't go as planned. It's according to plan. So let's put this thing on. Put this thing here. Put that there. Oh yeah, and this thing, it goes in just perfectly. It's the most snug fit ever. Oh, and I think it's also recommended. The owner of Aqua Review told me that he recommends to put white tape, plumber's tape around here, so probably want to do that. Sorry, I'm forgetting all these steps. This is a really impromptu video. I wasn't really planning on this. I was actually not planning on making this video in the first place, but because in the past I've gotten comments about my whole water change system and what I'm using to fill my tanks up, I decided maybe it would be good to share with you guys, so here it is. I hope you guys are liking the video too. So let's put a little bit on here just in case. Better be safe than sorry, right? Let's glue everything together now. I think we've got the size we want. You can test it on your tanks as well. Make sure it hooks on nicely and it fits and you like the shape of it, how it works, test it out. You can see here I can turn this ball valve really easily compared to the blue one. The blue one is horrible. I don't like that. But yeah, I really like this. Test it on different size tanks as well. On like this tank, the smaller tank. Make sure it fits perfectly and you're happy with it. Test it on this tank right now. Yeah, really liking that. It's all good, so let's get this thing to put together. You want to glue everything here. Everything that's connecting all these pipes, connections, except for this little joint. Because say you want to change it up in the future, you want to change the direction of the flow, you can move this as I explained earlier. But you want to make sure to glue these parts as well, because if you lose the connection here while you're filling the tank up, then it's going to splash water everywhere. This thing could fall off the tank, and so you just want to make sure that everything is glued except for the very end. That's it. Now the last thing I need, I'm not sure if you guys need it, but I definitely need, is this right here. This right here is some hose, obviously, but it's the pressure resistant type. This one is quite expensive. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe it's not expensive to you, but to me, I can't remember the price since I bought this a while back and I was saving it for today, but it was in the $25 to $30 range, so around there. For this thing, 10 meters long, as you can see right there, and it's got all the 3 stars except for that one. I'm not sure what that 1 star is right there, but it's gonna be strong enough for what I need it for, and yeah, let's hook this thing up. So this beautiful thing we just built, I can't wait to start using this. It feels so good and feels solid. It feels even more solid than that blue thing over there. But this one right here, so remember this part. We need the part that connects into it. So this bit right here, you can see it fits perfectly, and that's watertight. Gotta put this blue thing, this blue plastic piece around the hose first, and then this one goes on top of it. But yeah, just like that. And then we'll screw it back together. Alright, now for the moment of truth. We've created the little device, whatever you call this thing. Let's test it out. So I'm going to start off by closing this thing off. So we'll see that it's pressure resistant and it's super easy to move. I like that. Very, very nice. Let's turn on the tap. Alright, so we should have water going in here, and now let's release it. Yep, so it's definitely pressure resistant. You can see the water going through that little intake that we put on there. So if you have substrate in your tank, it shouldn't mess with it too much. Alright, so there it is. With this new little device, I'm able to do water changes a lot faster, a lot more fun for sure, because before, with that little blue thing, I wasn't sure if that thing was pressure resistant. For sure the hose wasn't pressure resistant, so every time I was doing a water change, especially on those tanks over there, I'd have to come back to the tap, to the sink, turn the tap off, move that blue hook into the next tank, come back to the sink again, open the tap, and it just kept going on like that, where I had to come back to the sink every single time to close and open the tap. So it got really annoying, and this is the new fix for that solution. So as always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, I hope you learned something new from this video. Today was like a upgrade, a little fun DIY video. So try it at home if you want, and I'll see you guys next time.